And now for a presentation. Please welcome Skift Senior Research Analyst, Seth Borka.
Hello, everybody. It's so exciting to be here, actually, in person with all of you, seeing you all here today. I was really looking forward to this event. I'm here. My name is Seth. I'm representing Skift Research, and I have three big trends for us. The three trends are technology, distribution, and sustainability. So I'm just going to jump right into them and share our research. So let's start with distribution. We think that COVID-19 has created an inflection point for travel distribution. Now, there's always been this kind of constant war, right, in distribution, first party versus third party, and how do you solve that? And one of the silver linings of COVID-19 has been that direct bookings actually rose. But we did some research. We think it's really important to kind of decompose the channels, because remember that there actually is such a thing as bad direct distribution, and there's also such a thing as good third-party distribution. And when we kind of did some research and looked under the hood, what we found was actually a large rise in, and I would call this not so great a channel, phone and walk-ins. This is an incredible venue, guys, but it's not the Skift Forum 1961. It's the Skift Forum 2021. So why are people calling hotels in the middle of a crisis? My answer is I think that's a lot to do with confusion. It's because they can't find the information they want, or if they do find it, they don't trust it, or if something happened and changed during their trip or itinerary, you didn't communicate with them. And we all know there were a lot of changes. And so it's going to be really important to solve those pain points and get the right kind of good distribution, which is the distribution that you can carry forward and own even after the pandemic. I think there's a huge opportunity for earning direct bookings in this environment. We briefly touched on this during the McKinsey panel, but we do believe that loyalty is really up for grabs, and loyalty is one of the best direct channels that you can have. What we saw is, new habits are being formed. Things are changing. Consumers are traveling in different ways. And we did some data looking at a couple of major brands, and we saw that loyalty contribution actually fell during the pandemic. And I'm going to single out Holiday Inn. It's nothing personal to any of the IHG folks, just an example. But, pre-pandemic, they got 49% of their room revenue from loyalty members. Now it's 42%. Pre-pandemic, Holiday Inn did something just shy of $4 billion in room revenue. So I know that 7 points doesn't look like a big drop, but if you kind of do that math and you multiply it through, we're talking something like $270 million worth of loyalty bookings that's now potentially up for grabs from this brand. And that's just one brand. You have to add it up across all the different IHG brands and all the Marriott brands and all the Hilton brands. And, the numbers start to get pretty big. We're talking potentially, billions of loyalty dollars that are, up for grabs. And so the next question is going to become, how do you either earn those loyalty customers, or, depending on what side of the fence you're on, how do you retain them, right? Our answer to that has a lot to do with technology. We think that tech is a key driver of the modern travel experience, and what lets you enable that customer experience that we were talking about with McKinsey. So we think it's so important that you get your systems right during this period. That's why we're calling this the year of back-end tech optimization. Really rolls off the tongue. Okay. No, it doesn't. We're workshopping the title. We're working on it. But look, the point still stands. When we talk to, for instance, hotels and say, what's holding you back from, implementing new strategies? It's things like outdated tech architectures. It's things like systems that don't talk to each other, systems that are hard to maintain. We think it's so important that hotels kind of retire their tech debt, upgrade their systems. We're talking modern cloud technology. We're talking APIs. Because when your systems can talk to each other, then you can generate data and good data intelligence. And from that data intelligence, you can then drive the customer experience. And to tie it all back to where we started, the good customer experience is what drives the good kind of direct bookings that you can own, and it's what converts third parties from good channels into repeat guests. So it's really important to get your tech right. Our third topic today, the one I'm going to close on, and you've heard a lot about in this conference, is sustainability. The planet demands sustainability of the travel industry, and so let's ask the question, are we answering that call? What this chart behind me shows, this is effectively the carbon cost to fly a passenger globally on average. And, I'm happy to see that there's been improvements over the last decade. Things are getting better. The issue becomes when we compare this with not just the carbon cost per trip, but the overall carbon emissions. It's up pretty significantly over the last decade. So what's going on here is effectively that you've got some sort of efficiency gain, but the growth in travel volume is overwhelming and swamping any of those carbon efficiency gains. This is kind of a big issue, right? And if you think about this conflict, I guess, between volume of emissions and efficiency of emissions, and you take it to its kind of logical conclusion, if you really want to put sustainability first, you're going to have to kind of be a little clear-eyed about some issues in the industry. You might have to tackle some third rails of the industry that we perhaps are a little afraid to touch. Things like, what's the carbon cost of a loyalty plan that incentivizes volumes? We did some research on this, and I found it quite eye-opening. If you want to have top-tier loyalty status at an airline, it's going to depend if you fly internationally or domestically, but it's going to be somewhere between 15 and 25 tons of carbon in a year, according to our analysis. Let's put that in context. The average American generates 15 tons of carbon in a year, and that's from everything that they do, right? That includes, food, commute, electricity. So it's a pretty big cost. And if you compare it to someone in the developing world, someone in India, for instance, the disparity is even greater. Now, I know that there's a lot of loyalty fans and a lot of airline execs in the audience, and you're maybe a little annoyed with me, right? A little peeved. You're probably thinking something along the lines like, look, every industry in the world rewards its best customers. Why can't I reward my best customers as well, right? That's actually a very fair criticism to level at me. And it's true. It kind of reveals this kind of fundamental tension that sometimes exists between, the business models of travel and the volumes of travel that we're trying to generate and the emissions related to them. Thankfully, there's actually a pretty easy solution to solve that. We can just go to the next slide, and you'll see the answer is, All right. So we didn't get that slide done in time. I'm sorry. There's actually no easy answer to this problem. It's going to be a really tough issue to tackle. Emissions today are linked to the volume of travel. But at the same time, any climate change or carbon solutions that don't allow for the industry to make a profit or don't allow for consumer choice in where they want to travel, and I really do believe that travel is intrinsically a good thing for people, that's a non-starter in my opinion. So we've got these three things we need to balance. We need to balance sustainability, profits, and consumer choice. There's not going to be a single bullet to solve that. I've put a couple of solutions on the slide that I think are good starting places that need to be addressed seriously. Things like, hopefully, it's parenthetical, hopefully self-regulation, otherwise another type of regulation. Things like carbon pricing, things like really investing in tech innovation, things to really change that efficiency graph to make it even more dramatic. And of course, changes reconsidering our products and experiences and what we offer. This is not just a travel industry problem. Sustainability is a global problem. But increasingly, we can't just pass the buck, right? You can't say, you think that loyalty stuff is bad, wait till you hear about this company called ExxonMobil, right? That we could have said that in the past, but that's not going to fly. My next panel is going to be with Google, and they're going to be making sustainability even more transparent for the average traveler. So the key here is not to shirk from our responsibilities, but to embrace it. I was asked to come up here and give this presentation, and my gut was I really wanted to wrap this up with a nice bow, give you a nice, easy solution. But unfortunately, I can't do that. So I have to kind of offer you all a challenge instead. And the challenge is really to address the sustainability crisis. And you'll see I have this final bullet, this other, and that we've got this room full of really smart people who can think of really creative and really interesting ways to change their businesses or innovate tech or whatever to solve the sustainability issue. And so I look forward to hearing from all of you as to, as call us with ideas. We need to work together as an industry, commitment and coordination, and try and address this issue. And I look forward to solving this challenge with you all in the future. So I'll wrap it up quickly. This is the research behind the themes. This was a 10-minute presentation, super high level, but if you want to kind of dig really deep into the core of any of these topics, we do dozens of reports a year that go deeper on all these ideas. You can see just a list of a few of these reports. And in my obligatory plug, if you want to read more, please, I represent Skift Research. We're really proud of the work that we're doing. And if you want to learn more, come grab any of us, say hi, contact your head of sales, Ann Duffy. And just for attending the conference, you'll get a 25% off if you want to subscribe. So I I hope you've enjoyed my talk, and it's really such a pleasure to be here with you all today. Thank you.